Today, April 12th, our readings 1 Samuel 13, 1 Chronicles 2 and 3, and 2 Corinthians chapter 12. We're going to start in 1 Samuel 13 and then maybe make our way to 2 Corinthians 12 if we have time. 1 Samuel 13 gives us the background of why God is going to choose another to be king instead of Saul. So the beginning of the chapter, he's fighting the Philistines. And if we went back, we would see that Samuel told Saul to wait. So verse 8 of chapter 13 says, he waited 7 days, the time appointed by Samuel. But Samuel did not come to Gilgal, and the people were scattering from him. So Saul said, bring the burnt offering here to me, and the peace offerings. And he offered the burnt offering. As soon as he had finished offering the burnt offering, behold, Samuel came. When Samuel went out to meet him and greet him, Samuel said, what have you done? And Saul said, when I saw the people were scattering from me, and that you did not come within the days appointed, and the Philistines had mustered at Michmash, I said, well, now the Philistines will come down against me at Gilgal. I have not sought the favor of the Lord. And Samuel said to Saul, you have done foolishly. You have not kept the command of the Lord your God with what he commanded you. For then the Lord would have established your kingdom over Israel forever. But now your kingdom shall not continue. The Lord has set out a man after his own heart, and the Lord has commanded him to be prince over his people, because you have not kept what the Lord commanded you. Ouch. Like, that's severe. Kind of works that way sometimes, right? It's like, as soon as, then it falls apart. You just need to be a little more patient. There's a lot to be said for patiently waiting. Waiting for God to show up at the right time, in the right way. Waiting for God to intervene. Waiting for God to give you the freedom to move forward. The freedom to say something. When we neglect to wait on God, we take things into our own hands, we're going to miss out on the blessings that God has for us. We're going to miss out on the directions and the goodness that God desires in for our life. Sometimes it's actual sin. Other times it may just be a bad decision. Wait on the Lord. So you have freedom to speak, to say, to go, to do. Well, 2 Corinthians chapter 12, Paul talks about being called up into heaven, into paradise. And he's like, I don't even know if I was in the body or out of the body. But it was amazing. So out of all of that, he says, to keep me from being conceited because of the surpassing greatness of the revelations. So he's had more than one experience with God. A thorn was given me in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to harass me, to keep me from being conceited. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord about this, that it should leave me, but he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For the sake of Christ, then, I'm content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities, for when I am weak, then I am strong. It's the backwards, upside down way of God. And Paul grabs a hold of it. He says, I asked 3 times for God to take this thing from me. And he said, no. He said, my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness. If we had it all together, glory would go to us. If people didn't know, that's a flawed individual, the glory would go to us. But he uses flawed individuals, people with weaknesses, problems, sin. Because when we are weak, then we are strong. How's that looking and working out in your life? We can get angry and upset about weaknesses, or we can recognize them as what they are. Part of who we are, that God is then able to take and make something good out of. Until next time, keep growing, little by little.